What do you get when you mix nostalgia, a CGI alien, and $182.7 million in 4 days? You get the movie that just bodied Memorial Day weekend harder than Top Gun ever did. Welcome back, everybody, to the OFFBEND Podcast, the show where story, cinema, and chaos collide. Today, we've got a lot of great things planned for you, but as usual, we're going to go ahead and dive straight in. Today, we got some awesome industry news to share, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into each one. But for starters, let's talk about Lilo and Stitch. So Lilo and Stitch has been dominating. Like I mentioned in the opener there, $182.7 million domestic opening. That's a new Memorial Day record. Disney's 90s playbook still works, but what's the cost? Are they going to have to recreate every single movie that's ever been good that they've ever released just to keep making money? Or, I mean, what are we doing here? It's not a viable long-term thing, I wouldn't think, but I guess they can just every 20 or so years just remake it again, new audiences. It's the blessing of film, I guess. Well, though, Carson, go ahead.
Yeah, so what I have is, for industry news, is Top Gun 3 has been written. Query says story is locked. Do you think this is something where Tom Cruise is in, or is he out?
Oh, he's definitely going to be in it, 100%. I think he said he wants to act till he's 100. I mean, there's no way this guy's not
insane.
in it, especially with the way that the second one not only did in theaters, but like how good it actually was, like as a genuine movie. And you know, we're going to be talking about Tom Cruise probably a lot in this episode. Spoiler alert. The guy's insane, though. I mean, every movie you watch is just peak production value. I think, you know, he really cares. And so does Christopher McQuarrie, who's writing the story, or who wrote the story, rather. They both really care about making the audience's experience really good. And I think, you know, the awesome thing for Carson and I is that's kind of at the core of what we want to do. You know, we want to inspire audiences. We want to make them truly want to go to the theater and see a movie in the cinema instead of watching it on their couch on Netflix. You know, we want that difference to be felt, to be seen, and to be recognized. And, you know, there is a significant difference. There's even a difference, you know, going from a regular projector screen to IMAX, but you know, the charm of going to the movies has been lost on us outside of these few spectacles every year that we get, you know, like Nolan's Oppenheimer, back then Mission Impossible 7, you know, all these great movies where, you know, even if it's not an action movie or a stunt movie where, you know, things are just over the top, it's just entertaining and the story's good, it's gripping, you care about the characters. So anyway, to answer your question, he's definitely going to be in it, and it's probably going to be peak. But anyways, the next one we got here is this week, David Tennant actually came out and said that he would have liked to have been Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four. Pedro Pascal has obviously got the role. He's in the movie releasing in July. Congratulations to him. The movie looks good. I hope it is good. I'll admit, when he was first cast, I was a little bit like, okay, I feel like we're just riding the Pedro Pascal wave. He's been in everything lately. I mean, okay, fine, put him in Marvel too. But were there people I would have rather had? Probably. Could I name any of those people right now? Not really. I haven't given it a ton of thought. David Tennant would have been cool. So would Penn Badgley. Everyone says John Krasinski. Obviously, he was in the Multiverse of Madness. You know, that's kind of a controversial one, but I probably wouldn't have had him as the full-time, but I think he did okay in the Multiverse of Madness. But would Tenet have made Marvel feel fresher, I guess is the question, because they do tend to cast a lot of people these days that are just like becoming famous or in the moment famous, you know, like riding hype trains and hype waves. And that's why we end up seeing, like, I don't know, you know what I mean? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see who else they were like kind of on the fence for. Because I don't know if Pedro Pascal was the first choice. I mean, maybe he was, and they just immediately grabbed him. But yeah, like I said, it'd be cool to see like who was all on that list. Maybe David Tennant was, but you never know. So
yeah, it would be cool to see who they had.
Yeah, my next industry news is about Kieran Culkin being cast as the new Hunger Games Caesar Flickerman, and I'm curious to know, kind of similar with David Tennant, like who else do you think might have been on that list of actors they could have picked from? But I feel like Kieran Culkin is the best choice, so I don't think anybody else should be getting that role.
For sure, no. I think the general vibe that Caesar gave off in the other movies, you know, the announcer, I think Kieran will be able to match that quite easily. He's got that little impish, little jester-like personality. I don't really know how to describe it, but especially as
Yeah.
Roman Roy in Succession, he's got that
Yeah.
kind of, he's up to no good. He's pranking people. He has that general vibe about him. And I think that'll carry over well to Caesar. But I'm excited. He's a hell of a performer. A Real Pain with Jesse Eisenberg. I watched that a few months ago. Finally, and phenomenal film. If you're not familiar, it's the one where they are cousins, wildly different people. Kieran's like doesn't care about anything, kind of apathetic, doesn't care what people think, lives his life on the edge type of guy. Whereas Jesse is this family man. He's very high strung, very stressed out. And it's kind of about their bond, going to Poland after their grandmother died. And, they go on this tour. They learn all about the history. I think, they're Jewish, obviously. So there's a lot of history there with that and World War II and everything. So they were going through all that kind of stuff. But anyways, I digress.
What was the movie called
Phenomenal
again?
actor. It's A Real Pain.
I didn't end
It's
up
pretty
seeing
good.
that. When
It's
did it
pretty
come
good.
out?
I think it came out last year, like later last year maybe. But Jesse Eisenberg directed it, and it's real good, man. It's good. I would
Yeah, I have
highly
to watch it.
recommend. But yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that's our last industry news for today. We're workshopping how we want to approach that going forward. We don't know if we want to just say the headline and move on, or you guys want us to talk about it a little bit. Obviously, we're okay with whichever, but whatever the audience wants to hear. As you know, we are audience first, so let us know any way that you can, DMs, comments, whatever. But moving on to the next segment, we're going to do things a little bit differently here than we normally do. We're going to do the game here. So I know typically we do the game at the end of the episode for those of you that actually stick around that long. But for those of you that don't, this episode's for you. We're going to do the game early. The game is, we've done other games in the past where it's always movie related or film related, but it's also like a quick thinking type of game where we try to be creative and do some stuff related to workshopping ideas. Green light or pass, I know, is one of them. We talked about sequels in another. This is our third game. This one's going to be called Reboot Me This. So the concept here is that one host will pull a film from a hat, and we have a proverbial hat, and actually we have these pre-selected movies, okay? But a proverbial hat, we're going to pull it. We didn't tell each other our movies, though. We chose for each other, just to be clear. The other person must reboot it today. Now, some of these films are going to be more recent, but we get to put our own classic little twist on them. It's got to have a new cast, a setting twist, and why it works. And then we flip-flop to the next person. And then we are going to have some polls on Instagram and on Spotify on who wins each round of this. So to make it a little fun and get the audience involved, we'll see. I'll let Carson start with his first one, and then we'll move on. But yeah, go ahead, Carson. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, am I telling you a movie and you have to... Okay, my first movie for you is Die Hard.
Okay. Oh, man. Die Hard in modern day. I mean, I guess, let's see. Okay, so if it was modern day, I think you can't really have Die Hard without New York City, though. I mean, how am I supposed to put this in a different setting? This is tough. I'm going to lose this round for sure. Okay, let's set it in another major metropolitan area. Let's go Washington, D.C. Okay, it's going to have a political espionage aspect to it this time around. Instead of just being a terrorist attack or whatever, there's going to be some internal spy work going on. So for the main character, John McClane, I'm going to go ahead and cast Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
Because he's John Wick, you know what I mean? His estranged wife, whose name I can't remember, go ahead and give me Anna de Armas. Go ahead and give me Anna de Armas, ballerina. I'm keeping it real close to the vest here. For the main antagonist, it's gonna be, instead of being it's Hans Gruber, right? That's the guy in Die Hard.
That sounds right. I can't.
Yeah, so
I can't be sure.
Hans Gruber. Instead of Hans Gruber being Alan Rickman, I would make him, who's a menacing guy? Jack Black.
Okay.
And he'd just be this comedically grotesque guy. He's just going out on a limb, and he's still very evil, still blowing stuff up, but he's a politician, okay? So instead of being in a Japanese-owned business headquarters, they're going to be in a political building at a political Met Gala, and they all get stuck, and it blows up, and that's it. So it's instead of being, and it's also not Christmas, it's Halloween. How about that? Okay. So I think that's good for me. I think we got the movie. I think we should greenlight that immediately and go ahead and make it.
Why does that?
Because it's Die Hard, dude. Everyone loves Die Hard.
Okay.
I mean, you can't not love Die Hard.
I know some people that don't like Die Hard, so.
Well, you know what I should.
Or they just don't like the fact that people say it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, but it would be a Halloween movie in this case, so
Yeah.
there's no problem with that. And we'd openly embrace that. Like everyone would be wearing costumes at this political gala. It'd be like the Halloween event. There you go. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. Ingenuity. For my first one for you, give me Top Gun.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun.
I almost like want to like I don't know some type of racing, but I'm
This
thinking
game's
of
hard,
like
isn't it?
yeah, I'm thinking of like for some reason like the fastest boats or something. I don't know. It's something like that where instead of flying planes, you're trying to win a race in a boat. I don't know. This is a terrible spinoff, but
It's
let's
a
see. New
reboot, not a spinoff.
cast. What?
It's a reboot, not a spinoff.
So it would still have to be about like airplanes.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd have to be
Shit.
like the same movie, just a different genre, new people playing the characters,
Okay, it's a horror film, and nobody knows how to fly planes.
and everybody's in a jet. You spawn in a jet, and you have
Everybody
to figure out how to land.
Everybody is in a fighter jet with real bombs and real ammunition, and they have to figure out how to fly. That's the whole movie. That's the twist. New cast. Let's see.
Who's Pete Maverick Mitchell? Who you cast in there? Because that's Tom Cruise through and through. That's a tough one.
No new cast. That's Tom Cruise. keep Tom. No, I'm thinking first name that comes to mind is Nathan Fillion. You know what I'm saying? Let's just throw him under there.
Okay, I can see
How
that. I can see that.
if he can fly a fighter jet. Let's see. Are we doing like the original Top Gun? So like
Yeah, it'd be the original. My other two movies that I have for you are more recent, though, so you'll get to have more fun with it.
okay. I guess for the other pilots, I'm like blanking on their names because I know for Top Gun 2, is it
You got Goose,
Goose? Yeah. So the Top Gun is
Iceman.
that yeah Iceman and Goose is that are they in that's one and then Goose's son is in Top Gun 2.
Rooster.
But Rooster. Okay. No, for Goose, let's see. Give me. I like the character that played Bob in Top Gun 2, but he
it's Paul
played
Rudd.
he played in the new Thunderbolts.
Yeah, he's good.
Give me that character for Goose. And then Iceman. Yeah, this is tough because you gotta like try and think of a good actor that would be. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that would work though because people would really be interested to see how they fly the fighter jets because like they're learning how to do it. So that's how it's gonna work, you know.
God, I hope. Please, everyone, we're not actually making these types of movies. Give us a chance.
Gosh. Okay, for
Our
my second
stories are
movie
way
though.
better.
American Psycho.
They are rebooting this actually, so let's see
Yeah.
how on the nose I can be.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
That's kind of hard actually.
Right on.
You might beat me off that. Let's see, for my name, let's see. Yeah, it's going to have to be like something like No Gun because you're definitely not the Top Gun. So,
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay. Well, okay, I'll dive into American Psycho then. I'll start with the title. I have one in mind. The American Cipher. Cipher as in like CIPHER. So it's set in the finance, like crypto boom of the late 20s, like Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that. There's a cold and charismatic quantitative trader at a top hedge fund in like New York City, Wall Street kind of guy. So he's a sociopath, but he masks his sociopathy behind like algorithms and systems and online anonymity. So as the market crashes and bodies start, appearing around the city and everything, we watch this guy who is very clean, well kept at work, does his thing. He's really good. He's really smart. We watch him kind of dissolve into madness, not through blood necessarily, not through, the act of doing it, but because of the emotional detachment and digital erasure of him being so detached from his actions. It's kind of like American Psycho meets The Big Short meets Zodiac, if you've ever seen it. And why this would work, I think the original American Psycho did a lot of things well. This kind of modernizes it, gives it a modern spin with the crypto and everything. But, there's still that, oh, look at me, I'm suave finance bro guy. And, oh, look at me, I'm actually not really as well kept as I appear. But then there's kind of this mystery aspect to it. It's not really a mystery, but like the Zodiac kind of investigation aspect. I think it would be cool to see more of the police perspective at the same time as all of this is happening, kind of switch in between the two. But that's my second one. What you think?
I don't know. I like it. I like kind of almost taking it back to the crypto boom. Who are your actors again?
I didn't even say. Oh man. Well, I think Austin Butler actually got cast for the new American Psycho, right? Like he's gonna be the lead. He's gonna be Patrick Bateman. I would give me Robert Pattinson for the lead, for Patrick Bateman. For like a love interest, give me Zoe Kravitz. Oh, this is just the Batman. Okay. For the rival guy, like the fellow executive, like, hey Paul. That guy. I would give me Jeremy Strong, Kendall from Succession.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Uh,
One of the guys could be one of the actors from Gemstones, the one that was married to Judy. What's his name?
JB
Yeah,
in the show, right? Is his name or something like that.
yeah.
But then for an investigative analyst or detective, give me Jodie Comer. She's really good. She's in The Last Duel. She's in Killing Eve. I think she would add a nice little second plot point. You know what I mean? But all right. So here's my next one. You ready? This is a movie that I know you've seen because I watched it in the theater with you. Bullet Train.
Okay. Wasn't that in one of our last games?
Probably. I mean, this
Where did that
guy's
come from?
really heavy.
I swear I'm not pressing any like thumbs up button. I don't know what that is coming from. Anyways, I could have sworn we said that in one of the last games. Either I asked that for you, but it was like the alternate ending, I think.
Oh yeah, it was the
Yeah.
alternate ending setting up a sequel, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see, because he's like an assassin. I feel like instead of the main character like hunting for someone, it's like him being hunted.
But isn't he already kind of being hunted?
Yeah, there's a bunch of assassins on the. I think he has to get through a bunch. Like it's almost one of those things where he has to like fight through people, and he has one target, but then I don't know, shit
Okay.
happens.
No, yeah, go
But
ahead. I'm here.
yeah, along the lines of like him having to defend himself rather than just fight these people. Let's see. The setting twist. Ooh. Yeah, it can't be on a train. It has to be, it can't be something moving because I feel like that just like is too similar.
I feel like no. I feel like you can do a different vehicle, just not a bullet train.
A
It'd be
cruise
cool if you did
ship.
like a boat. Yeah, I was gonna say like a boat. That'd be
A
cool.
cruise ship, yeah. Because I was thinking plane, but I think like there's actually a movie coming out where there's a bunch of like assassins on a plane. Like,
Of course there is.
yeah.
Of course. There's not a single original idea in this goddamn Hollywood.
So yeah, on a cruise ship where he has to defend himself, and it just like is one of like the biggest cruise ships ever built, you know. So it's just like he gets into a lot of trouble, and then
Is
at the
this cruise
end,
ship by chance unsinkable? Perchance.
so it is unsinkable, and then something happens where nobody dies when it sinks, but like everybody gets off.
How
What
does it
it?
sink? Does it hit an iceberg by chance?
No, it doesn't. It's not. It's not Titanic. They're actually in really warm weather, so
Okay, there's a twist. So they're wearing like Hawaiian shorts and shirts and all
yeah,
that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Just
all
chilling
that
and
good
grilling.
stuff.
Okay,
Let's see,
okay.
for
Why
the
will it
new
work?
cast. Oh, I
Oh
haven't
yeah,
come up
that's
with a
right.
name, but new cast. Give me John Krasinski for the lead.
Okay, interesting choice.
Let's see, for some of the assassins trying to kill him, let's get who's the guy from Blue Mountain State? Thad.
Oh,
He's in the new. He's
what is his name?
Is it
Yeah,
Reacher?
yeah, I know. Alan Richardson.
Alan Richardson, yeah. Let's get him. Let's get Henry Cavill in there. Just like the biggest dudes you can think of.
Henry Cavill. Okay,
And then we could get Anna de Armas, you know, ballerina. We could get
okay,
Keanu
right
Reeves,
on.
but like you can't have him lose, you know.
As John Wick.
He could
It's
be
a
almost the
it's a
final
crossover.
boss. He could
Yeah,
almost
it's a
be final
crossover.
boss like he is in well, he's in ballerina, so that's gonna be interesting.
Is he at?
Yeah, he's in like the new trailer if you look it up.
Oh shit, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
That's cool though. I know they're
Um
bringing him back.
Let's see why this works because it's gonna be so star-studded that like who wouldn't want to watch it, you know?
That's fair. Yeah, it's totally valid.
Okay, I don't think I'm gonna win that one, but let's see. I haven't even done a name. Instead of Bullet Train, it's I want to say like the Assassin's Cruise.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the name, the Assassin's Cruise.
Okay. Fair enough. I like it. I'm ready for the next one.
All right, my last one is Back to the Future.
Oh, the old Marty McFly and Doc. Okay. Back to the Future. This is tough because they literally do so much in the sequels. It's like, how do I
Yeah.
even begin to?
I
Okay.
feel like I didn't even think about it, but we definitely should have like picked movies that don't have multiple movies already, you know?
Yeah, but it's also it's a reboot. So, I mean, we can just reboot the franchise. It's like, the Spider-Man reboot going from Toby to Andrew. There's multiple Spider-Man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. So it's gonna be a little bit different, just based on the way that I'm thinking about this and approaching this right now. I think I have a cast in mind. I'm gonna start with the log line though. So when a 17-year-old stumbles upon a prototype like time machine device left behind by a reclusive former physicist, he's thrust right into 1994. This was the year that his estranged father lost everything. But as he kind of manipulates the events in the past to rebuild the family that he never had, he begins to realize that the future he's from physically may not survive the changes that he's making. So it's kind of like an elevated sci-fi adventure with more emotional weight. So like the movie Looper kind of meets like The Fablemans. It's got a little coming of age aspect, a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of thriller, but not too much. It's kind of more focused on like the regret and the generational trauma and kind of the ethics of rewriting history. If that were a possibility, obviously people would be divided whether or not they should. For the cast, hear me out here. I got Marty McFly, Timothy Chalamet.
Okay.
He's kind of the smart but emotionally stunted guy. He doesn't play the cool kid. He plays the kid who wants to matter. I think he's perfect. For Doc Brown, give me Willem Dafoe. He's less zany, more tragic. He's got that look of despair on his face. A very physicist, but he's kind of blackballed by his fringe theories. Now he's kind of a forgotten guy in the lab because nobody believed in the shit he was working on. For the dad in the past, because he goes back to when his dad was a kid. Give me Jeremy Allen White from The Bear and Shameless. I think that would be good. I think he would be good for that. For the mother, give me, let's see who's good. Margaret from The Substance. Margaret Qualley. I think she would pair well with Jeremy Allen White. And then for the modern day like friend character, when Marty's kind of in the future or in the present day, give me Rachel Ziegler from I guess more recently Snow White. She was also in Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. I want Denis Villeneuve to direct this. And do I have anything else left to say? I gave you the title and everything, right?
No, you hadn't.
I thought I did. I guess I didn't think of
Yeah.
one yet.
I don't think you have.
Man, let's see here. I got a perfect one because he's going back to deal with his dad. Father Time.
Whoa.
Tell me
That
that's
was
not a
actually
banger.
pretty good. I like that. Especially the casting. I think the casting is pretty spot on.
Oh yeah, I think it could work for sure. I'm yeah, it sounds good. I like time movies, so that was a good one for me to work on. Right on for choosing that.
Would it be something like he does end up going back to the future, or will he like be stuck there for a little bit until the second film?
I'm saying he's stuck there and he can't get out
Yeah.
because if he leaves, he ceases to exist because he
Hmm.
branched off the history,
Yeah.
and his branch is gone for good. Can't get that back. So then he just starts living and becomes friends with his parents, and that's kind of the stipulation. As long as he stays there, he's fine. But if he leaves, he's cooked to go back. But yeah, I got your last one here. Go ahead and do Oppenheimer for me. A biopic. Now this is going to be much tougher for you because it's historical. There's only so much you can change.
Man. Can I not make it historical? Like, this is terrible.
Yeah, you can change whatever you want, really. Just make it a new story.
Yeah, I'm just gonna add in like superheroes. Why not? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not like superheroes, but there are like characters who like could stop a nuclear bomb almost. But
So a superhero then, yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
Not like superheroes, but just like someone
I'd-
that can do things that only superheroes can ever do. Just, casually.
yeah, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like casually stop a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, they decide not to stop it, and it actually still happens. And then World War III ends up happening, and then that's when they step in and like take over the world because they know that like they're in power. Let's see, new cast. We gotta have. I'm like terrible with names, so we gotta have. Oh, what's his name? What the character from The Boys?
Ooh, Anthony Starr?
Yeah, Anthony Starr. as the main character.
Is
Um,
Oppenheimer?
no, as one of the superheroes, because
Okay.
he ends up taking over.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I guess like we could still show them like creating the bomb. So for Oppenheimer, we could do, I don't know, who's like a good older to choose.
For which character again?
Oppenheimer.
What if you did like a early 50s Oppenheimer and you did like Oscar Isaac or something like that?
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. And then I think those are the only characters I think I could change for right now. Setting twist, maybe just like have them in Area 51 almost. Cause like if we're gonna have superheroes, we might as well have some like sci-fi, like alien aspect
That's
to it.
crazy.
And why this works? It works because it's a play off history. It could almost be like an alternate universe type of like history and what like having superheroes could change the timeline almost. Let's see, name. Instead of just Oppenheimer, it's gonna be like Oppenheimer's downfall. Because like after World War II is over and World War III happens, I don't know, cause this is gonna be like a super long movie. There has to be like some time jump from like World War II to World War III because that'll be
At least
interesting.
like 10 years or so. I mean, like
Yeah.
you said, it's not history.
Yeah, true. We can kind of make it however we want it to. Let's see, name. Yeah, I said Oppenheimer's downfall because like he ends up in those 10 years, like you don't see it, but in like the last part of the movie, he was executed.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I like that. I'm with it. Okay, though, I think that rounds out the game. Right on for plan. And in advance, thank you everybody for your votes. I think we're gonna have some interesting feedback on those. I will leave a third option if you thought both of them sucked and you didn't want to give your vote. I'll make sure to include that as well because listen, if I was listening to what we just said, I'm going for that third option every time. But it's up to you, and that's the beauty of it. So next thing we have to talk about is the state of the studio. So we're going to peel back the curtain a little bit and talk to you as the audience directly about what we've been doing as Offbend, the kinds of things we've been up to. Obviously, we've recapped the travel and things that we've been on. We haven't had any new trips since we went to Atlanta, but aside from that, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And as we continue to pursue Make It Our First Feature, which is going to be high stakes, and how things are going with the funding, community building, production, timeline, all that kind of stuff. So to start, I'm just going to give a brief overview of where we're at, what we still have left to do, what our timelines look like. I'm not going to be too overly specific because I don't want to commit to something that we can't follow through on, but I'll tell you what our goals are. So yeah, as you guys know, High Stakes is our debut feature. We're super excited to make it. Carson and I are slated to lead, which is awesome because we've been learning more about acting as a craft and what makes a good actor and what makes a movie like this good, like a movie wherein it's very heavily character driven and it's very heavily driven by the interaction between the two characters. I think even is a bigger deal there. And so when you kind of dive more into that aspect, what kinds of dialogue and relationship do Carson and I need to have? Obviously, we've known each other a very long time, and I think that's going to really help build that chemistry on screen and everything. But it's a film wherein we are going to be doing our best to be guys that have been friends for even longer. They're a little bit older than us, they're scruffier, they've been through more, and that improvisational ability in their dialogue is really going to drive that point home. But we are slated to lead. We've got some really, really cool, well-known and talented people and not necessarily committed, but definitely in the mix to play some other major characters, such as the El Escorpion, the villain, and Michael James, who is a kind of a tertiary character. He's very awesome, got a lot of heart. He's funny. He's so funny. And then we've got some other characters in there as well. But we're super stoked. We just launched highstakes-movie.com a few weeks ago. We currently are raising our community round, so if that's something you'd be interested in, if you go head over to that website, you can find a lot more information there. Whether you're invested or not, you can always just read more about the project and the characters and all the background information and everything like that from there. But yeah, this next thing I want to do is kind of called wins and woes. So I want Carson and I to both share something that went well for us recently and then maybe something that didn't go as well. So I think it would be best if we both share our wins and then both share our woes. That way it's not like, oh, I'm saying something negative and then, I hand it off to Carson and then he says something positive and it's a total tonal shift. We don't have to flip it on its head like that necessarily. I think a win recently was going to Atlanta. I think being able to be in a short film shoot and have it shown to other people and get good feedback on our acting as first time actors on the screen ever, especially knowing what's in front of us, I think was a major win. Awards haven't been announced yet, but I'm interested to see if we can get anything. Hopefully at least like, best design picture or something like that. Cause I mean, I'm saying the crew did a phenomenal job with the lighting, with the cinematography, with the audio, with the kind of shot design and the selection of angles and everything like that. So yeah, and then obviously we talked about the Greg Allen White portion, or sorry, not Greg Allen White. I was thinking of Jeremy Allen White, Greg Allen Williams, whom we met with also in Atlanta, and who gave us an opportunity to kind of be vulnerable and act from our own words and content. And work on our improv in front of people who were watching us directly, I think was just an awesome experience also. So for me, that's got to be number one. And then, and I'll go ahead and share my woe. I think it'll just flow better. I think recently a woe for me is that I'm finding it really difficult to get people invested in what we're doing. It's a lot to explain off the top. You say you're making a movie, people thinking you're making just some little art house flick, which is okay, but I'm not just picking up a camcorder and going outside and, making some super stitched together little piece. I'm really trying hard to make a really quality movie that's going to be released in the theaters. Like I want to make something big that a lot of people can see and enjoy and that brings people together and has a story that people care about. But people seem to think that's just too ambitious and they don't want to even get invested before the movie's made, which means that it's hard for us to show the traction that people really care about this kind of stuff. But we know people do because we are those people. Aside from just our movie in general, we love original movies. So I think that's definitely been I wouldn't say it's a super negative thing because it's definitely a perspective shift and, how we approach things and how we talk to people about things and everything like that. It's going to get harder and harder as we go because that's the nature of film. So it's just prepping us for the challenge. And I appreciate that aspect. But yeah, those are my wins and my woes. I think, Atlanta was a very, very high point for me and I'm excited to continue creating experiences like that. But, I hope in the near future that we can have a better foundation for spreading the word. And that comes down to even things like following us on socials, right? Like we've had a really hard time getting organic traffic on socials, and we're not social experts by any means. Like we're not Fortune 500 marketing social gurus that have millions of followers and an established brand. We're starting out and bootstrapping this whole thing. We got some ads going and everything, but we're really trying to get the word out there. So in layman's terms, if there's any way that anybody wanted to help ever or do anything like that, simply following us and sharing us around, that's a really great way. But Carson, I'll let you go ahead and share your win and your woe as well.
I haven't read the article fully yet, but I think just what you had sent today about the tax incentives that was passed in Texas recently, I think that's a major win for us because in the future we want to film in Texas and have our headquarters in Texas. That's something that we've talked about before. So I think just having that happen before we get there just helps us kind of almost, I don't know, make it more 100%, I guess. I don't know if it's fully decided yet, but it makes it way more easier for us to decide on that. And then a woe, I think. What was your woe? So I don't repeat.
Yeah, I just said that it's hard to get people to care, that's crazy. I was saying it's hard to get people to care about what we're doing. And, when you tell somebody you're making a movie, they think that you're just like picking up a camcorder from Walmart and making some like home video or something. It's hard for them to really, and I don't blame them because it's kind of a gate-kept industry where not a lot of people really break into it, especially not people that we know, but they don't think it's like a real theatrical thing. They think that's reserved for the movie stars and the elite and everything. But we really do have a goal and an ambition to make that happen, and every bit of support helps.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think like one thing that kind of helps, I mean, with your win, like the Atlanta trip, is like having that footage to show people, that like we've actually kind of put in some work here and like we actually have, I don't know, I don't want to say experience, but we definitely did get a experience from making that short film. So that's something that like we can obviously hopefully helps like snowball almost like into our feature, so yeah, like I said, I agree with that. For a woe, let's see, my woe or our woe, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I think I guess something that like comes to mind is when we first like originally had written our script for High Stakes, we wanted it to be a period piece, and I think that's just kind of something that was really ambitious. I think that might be some part of our woes is not knowing exactly what's the right thing to do, and I think now we kind of have a good team in place to help us push us in the right direction rather than trying to do too much in a sense. And I think like our trip to Louisiana to see like scouting for film areas, I think like will definitely helped us kind of like see that, I don't know, a period piece might be too expensive to clear the streets, and yeah, definitely put a lot of things in perspective to kind of like help us go in the right direction. So I guess that kind of brings out another win was the Louisiana trip. I guess it kind of plays off of the Atlanta trip too, is just getting that experience. The more experience we can get, the better off we'll be in the future.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. So for this next little portion here, I wanted to kind of dive in and do a little bit of a retelling rather of our vision. So, from my perspective, what I'd just like to say to everybody listening is that, Offbend isn't just here to make movies. We're kind of here to rewire the whole system, right? Hollywood is built on gatekeeping and middlemen and making the safe bet. And we're building something different from that. We're building a studio born and rooted in Texas as a, third main media and entertainment hub or slash coast. We want to run it like a startup, lean and hungry and rapidly iterating. And we want to build it around bold voices and original stories and total creative control. We want to make sure that the audience is at the forefront of everything we're doing. Obviously, none of this is about escaping Hollywood or escaping LA. It's about proving that you don't really need it. The infrastructure, the audience, the talent, it's all right here in Texas. Our job is to find it and activate it and bring the best out of it. So Offbend is really all about building the next Hollywood right here in Texas, whether it be Dallas or Austin or somewhere in that other major metropolitan area. This guy loves giving the thumbs up. We want to build the next Hollywood, not copy the old one. So if you're tired of recycled IP, algorithmic storytelling, and overall riskless art, taken for profits instead of taking chances and risks, you're exactly who we're building this for. So I just wanted to add that, as my portion on the studio. Carson, do you have anything to add? If not, I'll end with a question here to the audience.
Yeah, I just want to touch on the thumbs up thing. I feel like the people that are
Of
not
course
watching
you
the
do.
video are like so confused what we're talking about. For some reason, it'll just randomly like show a thumbs up, and earlier it showed a thumbs down, so that was interesting. But I swear I'm not pressing anything. Like there's literally no button on the screen that shows a thumbs up or thumbs down, so it's interesting. But yeah, to kind of add to the vision, I think we want to put like our creativity on the screen. I think that is just what we want to see is like originality, and I think that's something that we can also help get from the audience is like what the audience think would be a good movie, and then we can kind of almost like spin off of that and put our creativity to like other ideas. And yeah, I'm just excited to see like what we can film and release in the future.
But yeah, no, I'm stoked for that. But anyways, I think I'll wrap up this little segment with the question to you, the audience. If there ever came an opportunity, what would it take for you to back an indie movie? What kinds of plot or story would you have to see? What kind of talent would have to be attached? What could the budget of the project be? And I'm not asking this to solicit you guys for high stakes donations, but I'm curious, how interested is the general public in indie film, and how interested are they in helping bring that to life? So DM us, reach out to us however you can. All of our socials are pretty easy to find. Just search Offbend on Google. Then you should have no problem. We'll try and feature some of the answers we receive in the next episode if we do receive any. So yeah, moving on, we have our movie review. So this week we're back to only one movie. Unfortunately, we had two on the books, but we couldn't make it happen. But that just means we're going to have more for next time. But this time around, we're going to be covering, like I said earlier, Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. Caveat here, I love the Mission Impossible movies. They're phenomenal. The fourth one through like this one are the best of the bunch. The first three are like, okay. The first one's pretty good, but it's a slow burn, It's not a fast-paced action movie. The second one just like totally flips that on its head, but in like the worst way. It's not a bad movie, but it's like a step backwards in my opinion. The third one, the villain's really good, the writing's really good. It's just still not quite there yet. The fourth one's where it starts becoming an absolute banger. But anyways, we have the review segment here. So I'm going to talk about what I like about this movie, and then I'll give my rating, and then I'll hand it over to Carson to do the same. Now, like I said, I really, really liked, let me pull up my review here. I really, really liked the fourth one, which was Ghost Protocol. I really liked Rogue Nation, which is the fifth one. Fallout, which is the sixth one. Dead Reckoning, which is the seventh one. And then I really, really liked The Final Reckoning. I thought it was a phenomenal movie. So, like through the thoughtfully designed and curated set pieces to exhilarating edge of your seat action, The Final Reckoning kind of represents all of the best parts of the Mission Impossible franchise to me. In a lot of different ways. Obviously, it has all those callbacks and historical things that it goes back to, and people that appear that haven't been in a movie since the first one. Going into watching this, I had seen a lot of people complain on Twitter or X or whatever you call it, that they didn't like it, that the whole first part of the movie was trash. I disagree pretty strongly with those opinions. It had some of the best stunt work I've ever seen, flat out, period. Just knowing that Tom Cruise did that himself. And it had a story that felt incredibly consequential. At no point in this movie did I feel let down by the stakes. Even down to the last few minutes, it felt gripping. It felt like it mattered. And everybody in the film did a fantastic job. From the man himself, Tom Cruise, to the ensemble cast with Haley Atwell, Simon Pegg, Palm, Clementif, Ving Rhames, Greg Davis, Henry Cerny, Nick Offerman, Severance legend Tremel Tillman. I see you, Mr. Milchick. You killed it, man.
Yeah, that was a crazy. Because I just finished. I'm finishing Severance right now.
Nice.
I'm on
Pretty
season
good,
2. Yeah, I like it.
And then, like I said, it was an excellent callback with Rolf Saxon reprising his role, and he was actually in the movie for a decent amount of time, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't just in it for 5 minutes.
He was in the first one, right?
Last half. Yeah, he was in the very first one.
Yeah, that was a cool cameo.
Angela Bassett delivered an excellent performance as Madam President, and, she played a large role in the reason that I felt the stakes so much, because you could tell that she was, like, really weighing her option and how the people would view her if she made one decision over the other. And, she just couldn't come to terms with that. Her struggling to reason with that dilemma that she and all the rest of the world was having, is a big deal. There's some sequences in this movie that really stress you out as the viewer, but that just goes to show that the stunt work was absolutely insane. It stresses you out in the best ways possible. It really can't be understated how much Christopher McQuarrie and Tom care about making entertaining movies. They really delivered with this one. They killed it. So to everyone, I'll end with this. To everyone, those I know, those I love, and those I'll never meet, please do me a favor and go see this movie in the theater right now. This is a 5 out of 5 star movie for me every single time. Yeah, I'm interested to hear what you have to say, Carson.
Great movie. I don't think I'll give it that high of a rating. It's definitely very high. I think the only thing I didn't like about it was how long it was. It's definitely a very tough watch in a movie theater. But that's
got a pee bladder.
Damn, bro, you just had to call me out like that. I actually went at like the best time, because it was when I think it was after he got out of the water, and they were in that like airplane. They were like making the plan for like, I don't know, 5 minutes. Like, I went to the bathroom and then came back, and they were still talking about the plan, and I was like, this is the best time to go. But no, like, I really liked it. I think you kind of brought it up as like the old cameos from the earlier films. I think like that kind of helps bring the whole series together. It's really cool to almost have like a perfect ending, I guess, because nobody on his team ended up dying. Well, I guess besides
the GOAT Luther, man.
Luther,
that was
yeah.
Tough.
But he was already like sick, wasn't he? Like, what was that whole him being underground? And
I don't remember that being in a different movie, but I could be wrong. I think that was just something that came about in this one. But yeah, he was already sick. I mean, but it didn't seem like he was like gonna die anytime soon, though. So it still sucked.
Yeah. But yeah, like the ending of just like him in the square with all the people walking around, and then he like was looking at his team, and then they disappear. I thought it was funny. I kind of mentioned it to Matt, our friend Matt, because because we went together. Like after the credits were rolling, I said, I wonder if they like just had a bunch of people walking in a circle in that scene, because that's what it felt like. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to get that many people if you can just have them all walk in a circle and like almost like change coats when they're off screen type of thing. But then again, they probably just had to film a bunch of different angles, so it kind of helps with I don't know, not having as many people walk by. Yeah, I really liked it. I think I would give it a 4.8. Like, it's really high on my list. I don't think I would give it a 5.5. Just like I said, it's a really long film. I would definitely watch it again, just not in the theaters. I think it's like 2 hours and 57 minutes or something like that. Like, it's almost 3 hours. It's probably one of the longest films I've seen. But yeah, I liked it. I really liked it. It was a good film. And Tom Cruise, for being 62, is insane. So, good for him to still be in that, like, shape and have his health to do it. Yeah, I hope he does act in action films until he's 100. Like, that's so sick, you know? So,
I'm gonna work with that guy so bad. I hope we get a chance to.
yeah, 100%.
I'm not even joking. That would like be a dream come true. He's like one of the best in terms of acting and all that. So
We could just learn so much
yeah, I'll
from
let you
him.
go ahead and finish. Oh yeah, and he's been around so long. He knows the ins and outs of the industry, and
Yeah.
I've also heard that he's just like in general, especially at this stage of his career, he's just like a super nice guy. Like you talk to him, and he's just like he calls you by your first name. He wants to get to know you, and you know I don't know him personally, but that's just what the vibe he gives me.
Yeah.
Whenever I see him anywhere. Anyways, he seems like he truly cares about his craft and again making the best movies he can. And I think there's something really honorable about that. And there's a lot of stories about him, especially like during COVID, like calling studio heads and being like, please let us film. Like the other people are filming, like we need to film. And he like tricked them into restarting all of them. Like he called around to the different studios and told them that the other studios were filming so that everybody had to film as like the prisoner's dilemma. Because they didn't know, you know, they're like, oh, I don't know if they're going to stop
Well, I
filming or
thought
not.
it
You know what I mean?
was something where he was telling other studios that his studio was filming, and then when they started filming, he told his studio, he was like, hey, they're filming, we need to film. And so that's kind of how it, like, he played everybody into like starting to film again.
Yeah, what a genius.
Yeah, but to like almost to kind of go off your point of like him being nice, I did see something where it was like he was talking to the people that were at the movie theater, like working at the theater for like a good 5 to 10 minutes. And you know, some famous people, you know, treat I don't know, people who working at places like that not the nicest, you know. So it's just cool
For
to
sure.
kind of see that side of somebody as famous as him, you know.
Absolutely. No, he's seems like a class act. Like I said, I'd love to meet the guy. Tom Cruise, if for any reason this ever ends up on your feed and you're like, those guys look interesting, hey, give me a call. You know where to find me. This message expires in 5 seconds. This message will self-destruct, rather. That is your mission, should you choose to accept it. But anyways, man, that movie, it makes me sad that if it is really the last one, because the Mission Impossible franchise is one of my favorites, which is, there's so many movies out there that I love, and, you know, these are very high up on the list. They're just so entertaining. They have a lot of heart, a lot of humor, great action. This movie cost $440 million to make. Did you know that?
That's expensive.
You know what I would do for $1 million? They gave them 440, but you know what? They did everything they damn well could with it because I mean I'm talking jumping out of planes.
Do you know what the first
That
weekend box office was?
I think it was like 73 million. So I mean Lilo and Stitch is blowing it out of the water, but that's to be expected with a kids movie. I mean we
Yeah.
saw the same thing with Barbie and Oppenheimer. I think it's a objective fact, at least to me, and I people that don't really analyze film wouldn't probably agree with this, but Oppenheimer is just a better, objectively better movie than Barbie, but Barbie did better because Oppenheimer was a 3-hour rated R biopic. You know, no little girls are wanting to go see that and bringing their whole family along. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When kids go to the movie, they have to buy tickets for the parents too, whereas Oppenheimer's more of a parents movie kind of thing. But anyways, Lilo and Stitch, same deal. Same thing's happening.
I mean, going back to Lilo and Stitch, there's a new Smurf movie coming out. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. Why? Why is that happening?
I don't know. I mean, it looked decent. It's got Rihanna. She's the main. What's the Smurf's name? Is it Smurfette?
Smurfette?
Yeah.
You know damn well what that Smurf is named. Open your closet. I guarantee you got a picture of Smurfette on the wall.
Bro, what? This man trying to see my
I know
closet.
you love Smurfette. I know you love Smurfette. Don't play like you don't know who
Yeah, maybe
Smurfette is.
as
Come on.
Rihanna.
Rihanna?
Rihanna.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I think that's a good place to end it.
Go
Thank you
watch
for
Mission
listening to all of
Impossible.
our. Oh yeah, get to the theaters right now. Support cinema. Support original good films. Go ahead, go do it, please. For us, for everybody. So entertaining. Do it for yourself, even, please. But yeah, whether you're new here or kind of a ride or die supporter since episode 1, thank you so much. This is the proverbial episode 7. If we end up making an episode 8, we will have officially gotten over that hump, and we don't take a single listen or interaction for granted. Some things we can ask of you: if you like us, if you like what we have to say, or if you like what we're doing, go ahead and give us a follow or a like wherever you're at. If you're on YouTube, you can find us at OFFBEND. If you're on Instagram, same thing, at OFFBEND. If you're on X, it's at OFFBEND Studios. On TikTok, at OFFBEND Studios. And is that all the socials that we have? Facebook, we're OFFBEND, but nobody really uses that anymore, huh?
LinkedIn.
When LinkedIn, if you're interested in the business side, we do some posting and stuff over there as well. So, if you believe in making movies that hit different, go ahead and go over to highstakes-movie.com. Again, this is where you can learn all about High Stakes, all about the characters. And then if you would like to get in on the action, there's some donation tiers there as well, where you can get some different rewards and things like that. But yeah, this has been a great time. I, as always, love talking to you, Carson. Anything else that
Yeah,
you'd like
same here.
to close out with?
Thanks for listening, and until next time.
Yep. All right. See you later, everybody.